Am I the a-hole for refusing to raise my brother's child for him? I was adopted by the people I consider my real parents when I was 7. My biological father is my adopted mother's brother, and she adopted my sister and me from him because he's a nut job. We were all raised with the knowledge that we were adopted. If I'm being honest, the notion of adoption isn't really a thing in my culture, as biological parenthood is very important. Families will just take in a child from an incompetent relative and raise them alongside their own children, but the child is always aware of who their biological parents are. The biological parents are usually involved as well, but aren't the child's primary guardians, and the child usually goes back to their biological parents once they're more stable. My younger brother, 17M, is a little poopy head, and he got his ex-girlfriend pregnant. Furthermore, he cheated on her, and she wants nothing to do with him. She figured out she was pregnant too late to get an abortion in our state, and her parents won't let her travel to get one. She wants nothing to do with my brother and our family, and I can't blame the poor girl. Initially, my mother was going to take the baby and raise it, but obviously, considering how things are done in my culture, my mother was expecting my brother's ex to be involved. Even when my mother promised that she'd let her sign over parental responsibility and move on, she just didn't seem genuine about it. The ex-girlfriend decided to just speak to an adoption agency and adopt the baby out externally, which upset my mom, as you probably guessed why. Blood is very important to her. My husband and I have been struggling to conceive, so I offered to take the baby. But I explained that I would only do it if it was a real adoption, not like how my culture does it, where I'd just be raising the baby for my brother. I made it clear that the baby wasn't a toy to be passed around and that I wouldn't be giving the child back when my brother finally gets his crap together in 15 years. My brother's ex was happy with this arrangement, and we've been in the process of getting paperwork started. Everyone in the family is pissed. They think I'm being unnecessarily difficult by going against our cultural conventions just because I'm infertile and want a baby. My mother thinks that I'm being selfish because I was basically raised in the way I'm refusing to raise this child in, and I'm being hypocritical. She thinks I should raise the kid with the knowledge of who their real parents are, which is something I'd share with them anyway when the time is right, and give my brother an opportunity to learn to be a father. I don't think I'm the AH, but given the cultural perspective and the nature of my own upbringing, I'm starting to think I may be being a bit hypocritical.
Am I the a-hole? I was in the passenger seat when my friend got into a car crash. Now she and my other friend, owner of car, want me to pay $400. Let me start off by saying I, 16F, am a minimum wage worker at Starbucks. So are my two friends in this story, who I'll call B, 16F, and Tana, 17F. B has her license and her own car. Tana has her learners, but doesn't have a car? I have neither since my mom lost my citizenship, and I barely have any ID. Anyway, we all work at Starbucks. Tana was hired by reference from me and B. B lets Tana drive her car around ever since she took it for a spin without B's knowledge, and filled up her tank. Long story short, about 2-ish weeks ago, me and Tana were waiting for B to get off her shift so we could go to the beach. While we were waiting, me and Tana went to go fill up B's tank at the gas station Tina used to work at. Jokingly, Tana's old coworker suggested she bring them all drinks from Starbucks, which we did. Me and Tana had also made 2 drinks for ourselves. While parked at the gas station, we placed our drinks on the dashboard since the cup holders were occupied by B's 2 water bottles. When we were leaving, we had somehow forgotten that the drinks were up there, and during a turn, the drinks had spilled all over the car. Tana panicked and hit a parked Volkswagen. The lady we hit was understandably very mad. The payment for the car ended up being $1,300, which Tanya and B agreed to split since Tana was driving, and B let her drive. Now, today, they had suggested I split it with them since my drink also spilled. I argued that the drink Tana had would have spilled regardless if I was there or not, and my drink didn't make much difference. They said it was the principle of it and that I should do it because I'm their friend. I don't feel $400 is fair for the amount I contributed. I would have felt $100, $200 reasonable, but $400 doesn't seem reasonable. I blocked them both after this argument because I've just had a rough day and can't deal with this. But what should I do? Am I a hole for not wanting to pay $400? Edit, yes, I did help clean the interior of the spilled drinks. Luckily, most of it got on parts that were easy to clean rather than the seats, so it just took a few alcohol wipes. Yes, we should have been driving with a DL. We went to an insurance company and turned ourselves in, We filed a claim lol, and yes, B was fully aware we were taking the car to fill up her tank and give Tana's old coworkers drinks. And there was no injuries from both parties of the crash. Update, I'd like to thank everyone for the advice. I have only had the post up for a few hours, but I've gotten tons of feedback. For people asking what the payment is for. Here's the thing. I'm not very knowledgeable on cars and stuff like this, so I'm not sure of the exact terms. I know that originally when we went to the insurance company, they quoted us $700 for the deductible. Some people said that's unusually high, but the damages were pretty bad on B's car and it should actually be considered totaled right now. She texted our group chat a few days later, and I don't exactly remember why, but the price went up from $700 to $13. I will update the post once I figure out why. Also, I know it was immature to block them. I have known B since grade 5 and Tana I met in freshman year of high school. We're all very close. I just had a real rough day and couldn't deal with them then and there. A lot of you said NTA, but I will still hold myself partially accountable for my drink since it was also up on the dashboard. My average paycheck is around $600, and I still have to save for a car, which is why I wasn't very open to paying $400 since half of my check goes in my savings. But we will come up with something more reasonable, I'm sure.
Am I the a-hole for going to a concert over my BF's wedding? So my best friend got engaged 6 days ago. She contacted me 3 days ago and said her wedding is going to be July 26. I informed her that we have a concert to attend on the 24, and I already booked off 2 days for the stay in Toronto, so I wasn't sure if they'd grant me the 3RD day off. I am still on probation, and they were very generous providing me the 2 days anyways. Well, ultimately they denied my time off request, and I'll be working until 7 p.m. on the day of her wedding. She's now demanding that I cancel the concert and attend her wedding because it's BS that I would prioritize a concert over her. This concert was booked a year ago as a birthday gift to my spouse. He has made numerous posts on Facebook about how excited he is. She has liked and commented on them. So she knew it was coming up. She literally messaged me giving me 3 options. 1, I sell the tickets for a deficit. 2, I give away my ticket and my spouse still gets to go. Or 3, I tell her which day I can get off work between the 22-26 when I literally can't get any more days off that week. She claims I'm a monster for wanting her to change her entire wedding for me. It's a simple backyard wedding with a marriage officiant, and nothing was set in stone when she asked. So I assumed swaying a week or 2 wouldn't be the end of the world. But apparently, that made me the bad guy. Note my entire family is her wedding party, maid of honor, flower girl, and ring bearers. So considering she's literally doing a last-minute wedding, was it so wrong of me to assume that we would have been included in the planning? Like availability. IDK. Maybe I am the a-hole, but she's being awful. Am I the a-hole for kicking my roommate out after he got us both in trouble? I, 24M, share an apartment with my roommate, Jake, 25M. We've been friends since college and have lived together for about 2 years. Everything was fine until about 3 months ago when Jake started dating this girl, Lisa, 23F. Lisa is nice, but ever since they got together, Jake has been acting recklessly. Last month, Jake decided to throw a massive party while I was away for the weekend visiting family. He didn't tell me about it beforehand, and when I got back, the apartment was a disaster. There were beer bottles everywhere, the carpet was stained, and one of our neighbors complained to the landlord about the noise and damage to the common area. We got a formal warning and had to pay for the damages, which cost a few $100s. I sat Jake down and told him this wasn't acceptable. He apologized and promised it wouldn't happen again. But then, just 2 weeks later, he did it again. This time I was home, and when I tried to stop things from getting out of hand, he got angry and said I was ruining his fun. The party went on, and we got another warning from the landlord. This time we were told that one more incident would get us evicted. I decided that was the last straw. I told Jake he had to find somewhere else to live because I couldn't afford to get evicted and ruin my rental record. Jake got furious, saying I was overreacting and that he would be more careful. But I couldn't trust his promises anymore, so I gave him a month to move out. Jake has been staying with Lisa since then and keeps texting me, calling me a jerk for kicking him out and saying he has nowhere else to go. Our mutual friends are split. Some think I did the right thing, while others think I should have given him another chance. So, am I the a-hole for kicking my roommate out after he threw two destructive parties and got us both in trouble?